All right, what's up, guys? VV back with another video. And in today's video, as you can see on the screen here, it is time to revisit Green, Blue, Zoro, and Zonji. I'll just be calling it Zonji from here on out. OP10, Green, Blue, Zonji. That's what we're going to be checking out in today's video. Now, it is true we did lose Jinbei in the most recent bans, which hey, I will say I was very happy with the way that deck was performing, that version of Green Blue Zonji. But the nice thing about this leader is you're not held down to a certain type, right? So we can take this leader in different directions, and that's what we're going to be checking out in today's video. We've actually got two directions we're going to be exploring in today's video. One is going to be for OP11, and it's going over a Whitebeard Pirates type of theme, okay? Or I should say just Whitebeard Pirates support. And then the second version we're going to check out is something for OP10 we can use, currently over here in the West, and that's using more of a Navy-based theme. All right, so let's do this, guys. Let me go ahead and lay out the video so you know what you're getting into. First things first, we're going to head over to the deck list, the two different deck lists. We're going to check those out and break those down. After that, we're going to head over to the sim. We got 5 games lined up on the sim, and then we'll finish off by going over the deck list one more time, and we'll finish things up from there. Now, you guys know I'll have everything time-stamped in the general description, and I'll have all relevant deck lists and links down in the comments section below. If you guys have any comments, questions, or suggestions, please do not hesitate to put those down there in the comment section below as well, or hop on the VV Theory Discord. Link is in the channel description. Now, one more thing I want to mention before we hop into this is don't forget to stop by the stream tonight. We stream on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays here on YouTube starting at 9 p.m. Eastern, and we usually run until about 12 a.m. or 1 a.m. Okay, so be sure to hang out. Check that out if you get a chance. One more thing I do want to mention is we keep a very busy schedule over here on the VV Theory. We have daily videos. Every single day we have a video, and then we stream Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday like I was just mentioning. And then we also have Discord local tournaments that are completely free to play in, free to enter in every way, shape, and form. You don't even have to have physical cards. You could just download the sim for free and play on there. We offer those Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, guys. So 5 different days of the week if you want to get in on that. One more thing, okay? One more thing. Speaking of that, we're going to have a really big win-a-box locals at the end of this month on April 27th at 6 p.m. Eastern is when it's going to start. It is completely free to enter. Big shout out to our sponsors, JT and Big Bear, JT Dragon and Big Bear. Got to look over the box here, guys. Y'all see me back here? But yeah, we're going to have a big win-a-box locals at the end of this month. Be sure to stop by the Discord. Link is in the channel description if you are interested in that, okay? Now, let's do this. Let me get all this stuff out of the way now. I've completely hid myself over here. We got to go over to the deck list. Get the leader out of the way, and here we go. So the first list we're going to be looking at for Green, Blue, Zoro, and Zonji is this Whitebeard version from ST22, OP11. It's really going to be like OP11.5. It's probably the most accurate way of explaining when this deck will be available to us. But we are going to check this out first. And let me go over the leader real quick for the new players. The leader is a 5,000 power 4-life Green, Blue Straw Hat leader, Zoro and Zonji. And the effect is Dawn ×1 when attacking once per turn. You may return one of your 2 cost or higher characters. Okay, so 2 cost or more characters to the owner's hand, and then set up to one of your power 7,000 or lower characters as active. Okay, so it has to be a cost 2 or higher character you pull back to your hand, and a 7,000 cost, a 7,000 power or lower character you're going to stand up. Yeah, hopefully it costs less than 7,000, right? But no, a 7,000 power or lower character. So in other words, there's a few cards in here you might notice right away. I'm going to remove the leader so it all fits nicely on 2 lines here. This character we can't restand with our leader because this character has 8,000 power. Right, so we can't restand this character, and same thing with Odin. But the good news is these 2 characters serve a very different role in this deck. They're more of a finisher type card. So I'm going to run through all the cards real quick, and we'll talk about all the new ones, and then we'll move over to the next list. First up, we're running 4 Izos. And guys, if you're a newer player, please pause and read what each one of these cards do, because I'm not going to explain each one of them. Some of these cards have been out for a very long time. This card's been out since the beginning in OP01. Okay, I'm going to mouse over each one as we go over them, so be sure to pause it if you want to know what the card does. So we're running 4 Izo, 2K counter, running 3 Hody Jones, running 4 Ace, 2K counter, running 2 Nefeltari Vivi. This comes out in EB02. Then we're running 2 of the 5-cost blocker ace. We're running 4 King Do, just a 2k counter really. 4 Jozu, 4 Speed Jill, 3 Namuel. We're running 4 Portgosti ace. This is the one that plays out a Whitebeard Pirates character that costs 4 or less from the top of your deck. We're running 4 Izo. This comes out in ST22 along with this Odin that also comes out then. Actually, all of these, all the rest of these cards come out in ST22. So we're running 4 Izo. This is a Searcher, 2 Kazuki Odin, 4 Squard. It says 2k counter, but this is not a 2k counter. That is just a mistranslation on the sim. Then we're running 2 Marco, and we're running 2 Take Back What You Just Said. This is basically just a 1-cost 4k counter in the deck. And then we're running 2 of Fire Fist. Fire Fist is really solid removal if you have enough Whitebeard Pirates to pull it off. So the main idea with this deck is, the main idea with this leader, I'm going to put the leader back on the screen for a second. The main idea with this leader is we want to get some characters on the board that will stick around. And if they can stick around, we can get 2 attacks off easily every turn with just 1 character by pulling back one of our other characters. And if it's a character we pull back like Nefeltari Vivi here that has an on-play draw 2, okay, well, we want to replay that over and over again anyway, right? So the idea is, let's just say we have down just like a 5-cost 6k like this. Okay, we'll attach 1 Dawn to get them to 7,000, swing for 7 with them, and then we'll attach a Dawn to our leader to swing for 6 with our leader, pulling back a card like Nefeltari Vivi to restand a card like what we swung with earlier that might be 7,000 power after buffs. So it ends up being a very, very powerful interaction as long as we can get a character to stick. That becomes the real struggle with Green, Blue, Zoro, and Zonji, is getting characters to stick. However, I will say that in the current meta, right, in the current format, removal is not as crazy as it used to be. Black took it got hit with a pretty big nerf in the last bans. Like, we got hit with nerfs as well, like losing Jinbei, but Black also lost some stuff that really was helping them out, like Ice Age and Gecko Moria Recursion and things like that, right? So that's gonna... It does help us in a way that there's not as much black in the format as there used to be. Not to say there's no black, like we're still going to see Gecko Moria. I didn't even mean to say that. That was like a slip, but that is true. But no, Gecko Moria, the leader, we're going to see. And then also Blackbeard, we're still going to see some, even like Lucci maybe. But if we can get a few characters to stick, or if we can flood the board enough where just, just something sticks around till next turn, we could start getting tons of value with our leader. That's why we're running this new Marco that has a once per turn effect. If this character would be KO'd by your opponent's effect, you may instead trash 1 card from your hand. So if they try to KO our character, okay, we'll just trash a card, and now, we get to keep our character on the board, and that's a 5,000 power body. And look at the when attacking. When attacking, reveal the top card of your deck. If it has Whitebeard Pirates in its types, give this character plus 1,000 power until the end of your opponent's next turn, and that is not once per turn. So that is, if we attack twice with this character, we can just swing once without any Dawn attached, and if our top card is a Whitebeard Pirates type, he'll be 6,000 power, and then if we choose to stand him up with our leader's effect, now he's a 7,000 power character when we attack the second time, and that will last until the start of our opponent's, until the end of our opponent's next turn. Massive effect for what we're trying to do with Zoro and Zonji, the leader. Okay, what else? So, of course, we're going to try to cheat out cards with this Portgosti Ace, like the Marco, or even like this Speed Jill, again, revealing the top card of your deck. If it's Whitebeard Pirates, this guy has Rush. So there is potential for us to set up our turns, like, let's say we go, let's say we're going first, right? So going first, we can go, okay, turn 1 pass or do something, maybe play out a Squard, not the worst thing to play out on turn 1. And then on turn 2, on our 3-Dawn turn, we can play out a Namuel and make sure we set up our second card. So we can set up 2 cards from the top of our life with this effect. So set up the top card is what we want to draw for the turn, but set the card under that as something like Speed Jill. And then when we play out the ace on our next turn on the 5-Dawn turn, we know it's going to be Speed Jill. So we can do some pretty awesome tricks with that little combo there. And if we can get just one of those cards to stick, it's going to be trouble for our opponent. Because even if the Namuel sticks, number one, we can swing with Namuel, but we don't even want to do that. We'd rather just use him, use up his effect, his on-play effect, and then pull him back to hand and replay him and set up his effect again to get value from the next turn. Okay, so really good stuff there. What else? We're running Jozu. This is a Whitebeard searchable card. This card is absolutely incredible. It's a 7,000 power character, which is perfect. It's absolutely perfect for what we're trying to do with our leader. Swing in for 7, and then we can restand it with our leader and swing for 7 again if we need to. Now, for the bigger cards in here in this deck, we are running the Kazuki Odin. Okay, 7 costs 8,000 power. This is from ST22. If this character would be removed from the field by your opponent's effects, instead, you may trash 2 cards from your hand. Okay, that is a very, very powerful effect. That is not once per turn. Like this, Marco is once per turn. You can save your character from a KO, okay, by trashing a card from your hand. This is as many times as you can afford to throw cards out of your hand. You can keep saving this character over and over again from any form of removal. This card is incredible, and it's going to allow us to really get some advantage in this game. And this is one of the ways we can pull back a 1-cost card like Izo. The activate main effects, let me read that. Activate main once per turn. You may rest 3 of your Dawn cards and return 1 of your characters to your hand. Set this character as active. So in other words, we can pull back the Izo. So in this version of the deck, we can pull back the Izo with the Jozu, or we can pull back the Izo with the Odin's effect, which is really, really good for us. Okay, let me see. Is there anything else we need to go over? One more card we will talk about, Hody Jones. Actually, we'll talk about the events as well. Hody Jones is just an incredible finisher. This card, it's a 7-cost, 8,000 power character that has Rush. And then on play, we can rest up to a total of 2 of our opponent's characters and or Dawn, and then put the top of our life card into our hand. Well, think about against Blackbeard. It turns off the on-play effect, and then we just have a 7-cost, 8,000 power Rush character. Massive into the Blackbeard matchup. Incredible. Okay. What else? So then we do have, so this Izo right here, it is, it's former Whitebeard Pirates, but it doesn't matter. It's the same name as this card, so we cannot search up that Izo, even if it was Whitebeard Pirates. It doesn't matter. Because this says a type including Whitebeard Pirates, but it says other than Izo. So normally we would be able to search this card up, but we can't because they share the same name. What else? Now this Ace is a Whitebeard Pirates searchable 2K counter. Okay, so we can search up this 2K counter, but there are some other ideas I will mention real quick for 2K counters within the new starter deck. This Whitey Bay and this Ace, these are the 2 new 2K counters in ST22. We don't care too much about this vanilla 2K counter. It's not a bad card, but we don't care for it in this deck. However, I guess maybe we could. Maybe we do care about it a little bit. It's a 5-cost, 6,000 power character. Attach 1 Dawn, you can swing for 7. But this Whitey Bay, notice what it does. 1 cost, 1,000 power, 2K counter. You may reveal 2 cards with a type including Whitebeard Pirates from your hand. Give up to 1 of your leaders with a type including Whitebeard Pirates plus 2,000 power during this turn. So actually we just can't use that at all because our leader is not Whitebeard Pirates. Our leader is Zoro and Sanji. And let me see something. Give up to 1 of your leaders. Okay, so it literally only works on the leader anyway, so we can't use this at all unless we just want to have a searchable 2K counter. But it's not even a 2-cost card to pull back with the Zonji's effect, so it's just not really that great for us. Okay, then we have Take Back What You Just Said. This is a 1-cost, 4,000 power counter with a trigger, draw 1 card, but you do have to have the top card of your deck be a Whitebeard Pirates type card in order to get the effect. And then last but not least, we have the new Fire Fist from ST22. It's a 5-cost event main. You may reveal 2 cards that have Whitebeard Pirates in its types, draw 1 card, and place up to 1 character with a cost of 5 or lower to the bottom of its owner's deck. So pretty good removal, to be honest. 5 cost to remove a 5 cost, and you're drawing a card. Seems pretty good. And then the trigger can bounce a 3 cost or lower character to the owner's hand. So all around a pretty decent card, and it is Whitebeard Pirates searchable. Now, we're going to look at one more Green-Blue Zonji list. Now, this is the other one we're going to be looking at today, or that we're going to have games for. Let me say this. The first 2 games of Green-Blue Zonji we checked today will have the first list we just went over with the Whitebeard Pirate stuff for OP11 or OP11.5. And then this list you see here is legal currently, and this will be the last 3 games that we go over on the sim. So I'm going to run through the list real quick, and then we'll break it down. So this one's running 3 Sugar, 2 Rosinante, 3 Hody Jones. Whoops, hang on. Let me go over this one more time. So it's running 3 Sugars, 2 Rosinante, 3 Hody Jones, 2 Carrot, 2 Neko Mamushi, 4 Smoker, 4 Tashigi, 4 Gion, 4 Tashigi the Searcher, 4 Jozu. The card's just too good, guys. Anything blue, if you're running anything to do with blue right now, you're probably running this card. It's just that good. Running 4 Ivankov, running 4 Sanji, 4 Pudding, 4 Duval, and 2 of the 7-cost Gravity Blade Raging Tigers. So this version is obviously more Navy focused. That's why we're running the Tashigi. We're going to be able to pull cards back to, search for cards and go from there. There's not a ton of searchable targets in here, but I think it's enough to still be able to run this Tashigi and get value from it later with something like Jozu. So just to break down all the targets that we can search with Tashigi, we can search up 4 Gion, 2 Rosinante, 4 Smoker. Unfortunately, we can't grab this Tashigi because they have the same name. but then we can still search up 2 Gravity Blade Raging Tigers. So that ends up being 4, let me see, 6, 10, and then 12. I think that's 12, unless I missed something, because remember, guys, we can't search up this Tashigi. So who knows, maybe we don't run this in the end, but it's still worth testing for now. And it was decent in my testing. Even just searching for this Smoker card seemed to be worth it most of the times, and there are 2K counters I can search up, like this Gion, or blockers like this Rosinante. So, you know, there was some perks to running this, but who knows, maybe going forward, maybe we need to increase the amount of Rosinantes up to 4. And when I got a little bit sidetracked at the beginning there, I was thinking, okay, maybe we should have swapped, you know, Rosinante to 3 and Sugar to 2. I don't know. We got plenty of time to test it out, but this is kind of the current direction of the list. We are running Emporio Ivankov. We have a lot of 2-cost cards we can cheat out from the top of our deck. We have 2 of the Rosinantes, 3 Sugars, and then 4 Sanjis, 4 Puddings, and 4 Duvals. So that's 12 plus 5. That's 17 targets we can cheat out from the top of our deck with Ivankov, which means, honestly, we have like a 40% chance to just blind rip one off the top, which is never a bad thing. I mean, you don't want to depend on that, obviously. I think it's much smarter to try to set cards into the top of your deck. But at the same time, that's not a feature that I currently have built into the deck, other than with Duval. We could try to fit in Namuel in the future or something like that, but for the time being, I still think it's still plenty enough to have in the deck to get a blind rip every now and then. But more importantly, we just want to have this card on the board as a threat to help us draw cards, and it's just a nice 3-Dawn play that could have some potential upside. So hopefully that makes sense. This list is Navy focused. It's not the Whitebeard Pirates one like we just saw. This is just more or less Navy focused, but not too much. It really is kind of just a best all-around type of deck that we can have right now in OP10, now that Jozu is gone. Or excuse me, now that Jinbei is gone. It was very hard to beat. Let me type in 7 real quick. It was very hard to beat the whole Jinbei into Edward Weevil. Where's Weevil at? Into this card. It was very hard to beat the Jinbei into Weevil. You know, turn for this leader. It kind of just worked out perfectly with our leader, where something was probably going to survive, and we got to replace the card in hand with the Weevil. So as long as just one card survived, we could just bash into him, you know, and just keep going from there, and then we could pull cards back from the trash that they remove with our Gecko Moria. It was really a match made in heaven for what this leader was doing. But they did get rid of Jinbei, and that just drastically lowers the power of what we were trying to do with the deck. What else? The Carrot and Smoker are basically the best cards in this list. They're just very good at attacking in and maintaining board control. You know, Smoker giving you the extra Dawn every turn and swinging 7 with Banish potentially twice in a turn is massive. They're losing all the cards that they have from their life with this kind of card, with this leader's effect. If this card sticks on the board even just excuse me, even just for 1 turn, and you start swinging for 7 with Banish, they pretty much can't recover from it at that point, especially if you get the 2 attacks off. It becomes really, really brutal. Carrot is the same idea. This is not a once per turn effect, so if we start attacking in, we can start tapping down their entire board if we start standing up this character to attack more than once, like tap down, or excuse me, keep that character tapped down, and then keep that character tapped down. You guys see where that's going, and all we have to do is attach 1 Dawn, and we're swinging for 7, and then we can swing twice if we can pull something back with our leader. Just a lot of power going on right there with Carrot. And then one more 5-cost card we have to talk about is Nekamamushi. Nekamamushi, excuse me, Nekamamushi is one of those cards that is just a monster in this deck, because if they have 7 or more rested cards, remember that counts leaders, stages, characters, everything, Dawn cards, you name it. If they have 7 or more rested cards on the field, excuse me, guys, this character gains Rush as an on play, and it just kind of mows your opponent over. They don't see it coming. So in other words, even if they cleared out your whole board and they just have like 1 or 2 life left, well, something you might be able to do, like say you only were able to keep a Sugar on the board or a Rosinante or something, you just have like a little 2-cost card left on the board, maybe even Duval. Okay, well, if you're on a 10 Dawn turn, imagine this. You can go, okay, slam down Nekamamushi for 5. attach one Dawn to swing for 7 with him, and then attach a Dawn to your leader, or attach 2 Dawn to your leader, actually, and just swing for 7 with your leader, pulling back the 2-cost card we were talking about, standing up the Nekamushi, and boom, swinging for the rest with your leader. And then it's almost like a surprise lethal sometimes, guys. It ends up being like a surprise lethal. It ends up being like swing 7, swing 9, or something like that. I think that was right. 7, 7, 9, if I'm not mistaken, if you had a 2-cost on the board, and you could slam it with your Nekamushi right away. What else? So that's that. So that's all the 5-cost cards. We are running Rosinante. It's just a solid utility blocker for us. We can cheat it out with the Ivankov if necessary, or if we can line that up. We're running Sugar as a great card to pull back to our hand with the Zoro and Sanji, and just replay it out each turn to tap down characters, pull it back to attack, or when attacking with the leader, and we can get a lot of value in that way. We're running Gion because it's a searchable 2K counter to give more value to Tashigi, and that's really about it. Make sure you pause and read if you don't know what this Zonji does, but this card gets a lot of value as well if we could start attacking it multiple times per turn. Okay, all right, that's enough yapping. Let's see the deck in action, right? Let's see these decks in action. Okay, so first game up, let me go ahead and move my head over to here. Let me go full screen first. And there we go. So first game up we have, remember the first game is going to be with the ST22 version of the deck, the Whitebeard Pirates version. It's going to be Green-Blue Zonji versus Eustass Captain Kidd. Volume is off, speed is on 2x, and here we go. We probably should consider still running Nefeltari Vivi in the current version of the list as well, or the OP10 version. So we start off with an Ezo search, very nice. I think we got the Speed Jill from that. They're going to play out the Luffy. They're going to do a search of their own. We're going to swing in for 5. We have 3 Dawn to follow up. We're going to play this out. Now watch this, guys. Pause. This turn is very important so that I can set up my top 2 cards as something I want to play out with this 5-cost ace in my hand, because I'm about to go 1, 3, 5 perfectly on curve. Let's see what we do. So I should put the Speed Jill in first, and then, or actually, it looks like I actually want the it looks like I actually want the Marco in play. I kind of like that better the more I think about it. Something that will stick. Okay, they attack in. We take that. So we got the Speed Jill we drew for the turn. We're going to swing for a 5. They'll probably just block and eat one of our life cards here. Nice. They chose not to do that. Seems good. We'll play out the ace, cheating out the Marco, which we set there with our Namuel. And our board's looking pretty good, guys. I mean, all things considered, this is a really solid curve. If we could just get to a Jozu to bounce back this Ezo to our hand, our opponent is going to be in a lot of trouble. They're going to swing for 5. We are going to go ahead and use the Ezo here to do a draw 1, trash 1, or it's draw 1, put 1 to the bottom of your deck. We're going to take that 5K hit. They're going to swing for 5. We're going to 1K counter out of that. They play out a Kikinojo. They play out a Beige, and here we go. Again, I'd feel a lot safer if I could get a Jozu in my hand right now just to slow my opponent down some. But that's okay. Let's see what happens. Looks like we're going to swing 6 into 7, revealing the top card. It was a Whitebeard Pirates card. And, excuse me, we swung for 6 and it got buffed to 7. We're going to swing for 7 more. Okay, well, we're just going to keep on this pressure. Watch this, guys. Yeah, I need to swing for just, yeah, that's right, because I need to pull back the Namuel here to stand up one of my characters. We'll stand up the Marco. Here we go. They counter out with that, and now we swing in for 8 more. They take that. We replay the Namuel. We set the cards to the top of our deck that we might need. I'm putting an Ezo Searcher on top and the 5-cost ace, because I think it's too late to mess with that. We have to just get aggressive here and go for lethal. They're going to swing for 5 here. I actually take this because they have 8 Dawn left. We're just going to take these because I'm assuming they're going to play out the 8-cost Eustass Kidd. I didn't want to take the chance. Instead, they play out the Trafalgar Law. I'm fine with that because now I'm just going to run them over this turn because all my cards on the board are safe and we got a Jozu. It's not the worst thing in the world. And let's see what happens here. I think this might just be a math win, guys. This might just be a math win. Okay, I do have to decide how I want to do this. Notice, I think I'm thinking about setting up the top card of my deck. Okay, it was not a Whitebeard Pirates card. It's a Hody Jones. So that does mess some things up there. Looking back, I think I should have played out a Namuel and for sure secured this win. We'll talk about that after this game. We'll talk about that more after this game. Okay, so here we go. We're going to swing for 5 into face here. So notice I'm probably just going to play out the Jozu, and we're probably just going to try to bounce something here. Okay, very nice. Oh, or I could go double Namuel. That's definitely another consideration. I'm going to set the top 2 cards of my deck as Whitebeard Pirates cards here, and I'm just going to keep playing cards out. We'll go and push these cards. I'm pushing them to the bottom. Notice that. I'm searching for 2K counters. So I have triple blocker here, and I have a decent amount of counter power in hand, and I did set my final cards there to a Whitebeard Pirates card so that I could get my my 1-cost event off, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure I set those last cards with Namuel as for my my 1-cost effect there. Okay, they're going to swing for 6 here. Looks like we might just 2K counter out of this. Or just 1K, 1K. Might just block it even. Because I think I'm going to try to go for lethal this turn. They're going to stand up a card with blocker there, but I don't think it's going to matter. I don't think it's going to be enough here because, yeah, we're going to tap that down with our Hody Jones. We're going to swing for 6. We reveal a Whitebeard Pirates, and they're in trouble now. And now, so we swing in for 7 there. Looks like we're going to be able to swing in here. I'm going to pull back the Namuel. We're all in here, by the way, guys. There is no coming back. Like, we are all in. They're going to counter out of that. So now we're going to swing for 7. This has to go through or we lose. Swing for 8. Swing for 8. Do they have it? They do not. It looks like they were one. Okay, they would have been fine if we had not tapped down that Dawn. If we hadn't tapped down the Dawn with the Hody Jones, they would have actually been fine there. That was really well played by my opponent. They just needed one more Dawn as active. Good game to my opponent there. That was a tricky one. Now let's talk about this turn right here real quick. We had some. We had a little bit of a blunder here. Let me go before I play out the Jozu. All right, play. Fast forward right here. It was this turn. Watch this. I attach a Dawn to my Marco when I have 9 Dawn on the board. I'm trying to pause right when we get the card revealed because we reveal a Hody Jones. Watch this. Okay. In fact, I might just swing for 5. No, I swing for 6. Pause. Okay. So I attached one Dawn to my character there, right? What I should have actually done in this situation was use my Namuel. Use my Namuel to set everything up that I needed to make sure that I reveal a card on top of my deck that is a Whitebeard Pirates card, and I can go from there. Or at least play out the 5 call 6K ace or something, right? Just something that sets my top card, so that way I can put on even more pressure, because for those who are not aware, it's a lot harder to get out of a 7K attack than it is a 6K attack, and that would have changed everything for this turn, and it also would not have shown them, like, hey, I have a Hody Jones coming next turn, right? That's, I mean, it ended up not being enough anyway, like they ended up not having enough, but still, it would have been the correct play to not give them that kind of information. But that was about it. So in other words, I think what this turn should have been was pay 3 for Namuel right away, and I would still have 6 Dawn left for the turn to play out more blockers or whatever I need, set my top cards the way that I need them, and then start smashing in with everything on the board and go from there. So yeah, there we go. Good game to my opponent there. That was a lot of fun. This version of the deck has a lot of promise. I will say it looks very promising. Okay, so that was against Yellow Eustass Kid. Now we have one more game with the ST22 version of the deck with Whitebeard Pirates, and this one's against Purple Luffy. Okay, volume is off, speed is on 2x, and here we go. I will say this, Purple Luffy probably does not want to go against this deck, especially if we're going first, because we just put on so much pressure, and they don't have a lot of removal. Speaking of matchups, let me tell you right now, the matchup you do not ever want to see is going to be Jory Bonnie. Jory Bonnie is probably like something like 90% loss rate. I don't know how you're supposed to beat Jory Bonnie, guys. I'm just being completely honest with you. I have no idea how you're supposed to beat Jory Bonnie with this list other than just getting lucky or something like that. It's just a hard counter. Okay, they swing in for 5. They have 5 Dawn left. They ramp a Dawn. They have 2 Dawn left now. We're going to use Squard just to see what's on top of our deck to see if we can land this Speed Jill here. Okay, and it looks like we can. Yeah, we're going to probably slam that down right now. We knew what it was because we revealed it with Squard, and we put it on the bottom of our deck, I believe. We're going to swing for 5. We're going to swing for 6. We're going to pull back the Nefeltari Vivi and swing for and then stand up our Speed Jill. And then we don't swing again. We pass the turn back just in case. We don't want them to get rid of our Speed Jill. So they're going to swing in for 5. We're going to take that. They'll probably swing in for 5 more with this. Okay, it looks like they might not swing this turn with the Mr. 2 Boncray Bentham. Okay, so we are in a tough spot here. We have 7 Dawn to work with. Let's see what we choose to do. We can get pretty aggressive here if we want to. We don't have a Jozu just yet, so we're going to swing for 6 and force a 2K counter out of hand. Okay, they 2K counter out. Very nice. And our turn's kind of just getting started, right? Like we're not done with our turn. We're going to be able to stand stuff up and go from there. Okay, we're going to swing for 6. We're not going to use the leader effect because I really want to play out this ace. We reveal a Jozu. Ended up not being anything good there. We just had to get down one more body to try to go for lethal next turn. I think that's the idea here. Okay, they're going to swing 5 into my body. I am going to 1K counter out because, look, I just saved a 2K counter in the process. I'm going to 2K counter out again, and now I just saved 2K, what would have been to my life. Okay, they're going to swing 6 in the face. We will take that. We get the trigger there to draw a card. Very nice. They play out a Katakuri, but we're probably going to potentially go for lethal. Actually, I think I wait one more turn. We'll go 2 into 1. Does he want to give me a blocker? The answer is probably not. That would not be very wise for him to give me a blocker in this situation, especially given who my leader is. And I think we might block her up here and go for lethal next turn, potentially. We'll have to see what happens. I have gone through quite a few triggers already. I've gone through, or excuse me, quite a few 2K counters already. Yeah, it looks like we're actually going to go for lethal here. And watch how this deck works, guys. This is pretty fancy stuff here. Watch this. We're going to swing for 7. Okay, we're going to attach a Dawn to our leader. But watch this. We're going to swing for 8 with Hody Jones. We have to do things in a little bit different order. We're swinging in for 8. Now we're going to return the Hody Jones after attacking, standing up our ace. And uh-oh, what's this? They gave up because that 6K attack, they had no, their hand is completely bricked, actually. I was going to say they had no 2K counters. They had one 1K counter. But let's just pretend they had a 2K counter. What would have happened there? Or even two 1K counters. I stood up my ace, and I don't think I did my scored effect yet, where I could have swung for 8 more at the very end there with the ace. Okay, really, that's what Green-Blue Zonji does, guys. It kind of just says, you know what? We're going to go all in on you, and you're just not going to be able to survive. I mean, that's just the simple fact of the matter, is you're not going to have enough counter power in hand. Because once you start going through all those 2K counters early in the game, remember what I was saying earlier, we kept swinging for 6s. We were taking all their 2K counters from their hand. Well, what ends up happening is, okay, at the end of the game, you have no 2K counters, and all my attacks are coming in for like baseline 7s for the most part. In this situation, we had to swing for 7 with our leader, but either way, you know, it still ends up being really strong. You know, swinging for these 6s, 7s, and 8s like we did with Hody Jones, it just becomes so much for them to deal with. If they don't have event support, then they're in trouble. They thought they were safe, guys. Let me show you how this turn looked. Remember how this turn looked at the end here, or at the? This is what they passed with. This was the beginning of the end turn right here. Who would have thought that the Luffy was going to lose right here? Like, they've got 1 Dawn open for Gum Gum Giant. They have 2 life, and they have an 8-cost blocker on the board. Well, they actually... Let me explain to you what they actually have. They don't have a blocker on the board, and they don't have 1 Dawn for Gum Gum Giant because I have a Hody Jones in my hand. Right? You see what ends up happening there? It's like, wait a minute. You're in a lot of trouble now. This guy's in a lot of trouble. And that's what ended up happening. Good game to my opponent, though. That was a fun one. And that was the last of the Whitebeard Pirates one for now. I will be revisiting this version of the deck in the future, but this is really quite a ways off for us over here in the West. Excuse me. Okay, next game. We got a game versus Blue-Black Usopp. Volume is off. Speed is on 2x. And here we go. Now, this is using the OP10 version we went over, the OP10 legal version. This one's more Navy-based. Okay, so we're going to swing in for 5. We have a few different plays we can do after this. We could play out the TCG, we could play out the Zonji, or the Duval. Looking back, I kind of like the Duval better because, okay, he pops the TCG. That's fine with me. Get the removal out of his hand early. I'm completely fine with that. But I would have rather him, like, removed my Duval instead of my TCG because that's at least a 2K counter in hand, and I could set my top cards. So I'm going to go ahead and play out the Smoker here. They took that hit, by the way, for 5. They took that hit. They're going to play out a Frankie. They're going to play out a Leo, tapping stage, doing a top 5 search, getting 2 cards, trashing a card. Let's see what they choose to trash. They trash a Cavendish. Very interesting. That means they might have another one in hand. Okay, swing 6, swing 6. We 2K counter out of 1. We take the other, and here we go. I am going to be able to swing 7 into face. They're going to give me a blocker immediately, right? They're going to have to give me a blocker there. They don't want to take banish or lose 2 cards from hand. Instead, they stopped attack and drew a card. Now, in this situation right here, we're going to stand a Dawn back as active. We're going to play out the Zonji here. We're going to pull it back and stand up the Smoker. We're going to go 7 in with banish. They give me a 2K just to get out of that. That is not the position you want to be in. Their Zoro remains tapped because of the Carrots effect. They get rid of my Smoker, but they had to burn. Did you guys see what they had to use just to get rid of my Smoker? Hang on one second, guys. They had to use a 1-legged toy soldier, so a 2K counter in hand, and hit the Zoro to get rid of my Smoker. That was 2 cards out of hand, one of which was a 2K counter. And now what? Whenever I attack now, I'm just going to keep locking things down. They're going to swing for 6 here. I think we're going to 2K counter out of this. I don't want to dip too low in case they do have some kind of big follow-up attack next turn. But here we go. We're going to lock down Zoro. That Zoro's not standing for the rest of the game pretty much, right? We're going to try our best to maintain that, to keep that card locked down. Okay, I see a Hody Jones coming up off the top here, but watch this. We play out an Ivankov. Now, unfortunately, with the effect of Usopp, we can't target any of these Zoros with the Sugar, and I'm like, all right, I guess just tap this one down, it doesn't matter. But we still needed to play a card out with the Ivankov so we could pull it back to hand with our leader effect to stand up the Carrot. Okay? Really good stuff there. So our Carrot is active now. They do go ahead and pass here. I was not... I was not done with the game. What we were going to do here was play out probably the, we were either going to play out the Tashigi or the Zonji here just to finish out our turn. They left a little bit early, but what we were going to do is just, you know, either we didn't have any blockers, but we just had to get through 2 attacks, right? And we had 2 life and a blocker. So the chances of them winning the game there were pretty much slim to none. And even when they draw a card for the turn with Idio, it's not going to help them win game next turn. And then remember what we have on top of our deck. If they don't win the game this turn, look at what we set to the top of our deck. We set that with Duval. We know we're getting a Hody Jones. This game is over next turn, pretty much no matter what. They can't stop it. No matter, even if they played both of those blockers this turn, it doesn't matter, because we'll set both of them down. We'll tap both of them down and go from there. Good game to my opponent. Okay, we got 2 more games. We got a game versus Blackbeard now. Volume is off. Speed is on 2x. Here we go. Now, I'll tell you right now, if Blackbeard does not see enough removal, Green Blue Zoro and Zonji actually just kind of runs them over. And I'm just being completely honest with you guys right now. It really can just kind of run people over with this, you know, with Green Blue Zoro and Zonji, because it attacks so wide that becomes a real issue for Blackbeard, especially if we can stick a 5-cost 7k Tashigi. Okay, so we just played out an Emporio Ivankov, blind rip, we get a sugar. It's better than nothing. Now, I am going to pause this real quick, read what this does. On play at the bottom, rest up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 4 or less. Okay, that's fine. However, the second part of this effect, I cannot do. Let's read it real quick. Opponent's turn once per turn. When your opponent plays a character card, if your leader is of the Don Quixote Pirates type, rest up to one of your opponent's characters, then rest this card. So we don't have that ability, right? We are not a Don Quixote Pirates leader, so we can't do that effect. It doesn't matter, though. It's still a card we can pull back to hand. It's a 1k counter. It costs 2, which is perfect for our leader effect, and the on-play is still very relevant, and we can play that in any deck. And it comes into play off the Emporio Ivankov, of course. Okay, so we play that out. We play out the Ivankov. So 4 Dawn turn for the Blackbeard, the Teach player. We are going to take this gladly, and he gave us a very good card in the process. We're just going to slam this card down and go from here. We are going to put it down first. We're going to swing for, excuse me, pause. So I had to play it down for a multitude of reasons, for 2 reasons in particular. I needed to play it out to get down to 6 cards in hand, so I could draw a card with the Emporio Ivankov's effect, the when attacking effect. But also, I had to stand Adon as active with the activate main of Smoker to attach to the Ivankov, so I could swing for 5 and actually get a card from their hand while drawing a card with the effect, and then we still get to swing 5 with our leader. Okay, no trigger. That's always a good sign. They didn't get any trigger. They're going to 1k counter out. They're down to 4 life, and I'm telling you right now, guys, if they cannot deal with that Smoker, yeah, they're going to be having a very, very bad day. They're going to be having a very bad day. Because I can swing twice with this leader. Let's not forget that. Let's not, you know, forget how strong that effect is. And they still have to worry about my on-play effects, so they do have to trash cards at the end of the turn just to try to deal with my on-play effects. Okay, because if I slam down a Jozu next turn, they're in even more trouble. They're in even more trouble. Okay, here we go. Let's see what they're gonna do. Let's see what they choose to do here. They're doing a bunch of searching, and they're down to 4 cards left, or excuse me, 4 Dawn left for the turn. I know my Smoker's safe, unless they have a 4-cost Finger Pistol, but they can't search that up. They can't search up a Finger Pistol. So let's see what they choose to do here. Remember, guys, this is in 2x speed. Okay, they're going to swing into that card. I'm saving it. I dumped 3 2k counters to get that card back, so I get an extra attack this turn and draw an extra card this turn. Here we go. Swing for 5 to draw a card. He's probably going to want to counter out of this. Nope, he chooses not to. Okay, any trigger? I guess he was hoping to get a trigger, maybe like a card to get rid of my Smoker. That would have been pretty nasty. 7 with Banish. That's in the trash now. Seems good. Okay, so now we're going to swing in for 6 with our leader, pulling back the sugar, standing up our Smoker. They have to counter out of this, and we know they can't even get out of this next Smoker attack. They're in so much trouble. Guys, they're in so much trouble. Swinging in for 7, that's going to take a 2k, 1k to get out of, or they're down to 1 life. Oh, they're down to 1 life. Yep. As it turns out, they're down to 1 life. And one thing I can tell you right now is they are not getting both these cards off the board now. There's no way. First of all, I do have enough 1k counters in hand to save this Smoker from pretty much any attack. Yeah, 8 into 7, that's 2 1k counters and he's safe. Okay, and other than that, even if they had, let me pause for a second because this game's pretty much over. Even if they had a Liberation, the 6-cost event, remember, that goes off of base power. So they can only get rid of 1 Smoker and then this Ivankov. It doesn't matter. Because on the crackback, I'm going to swing 7 with Vanish. They can't take it. And then I'm going to play out a Rosinante or Sugar. swinging for 7 with my leader. Again, they can't really take that either. I just beat them the next, on the next attack. And then from there, swing one more time with the smoker. This game is, this is pretty much checkmate. They're going to play out the Kuzan. They use the effect to cycle his card. They're going to play out a Shiryu. That's going to pop my Ivankov. That's less than ideal, but it really just doesn't matter in this situation, right? Because it's swing 7, banish, swing 7, banish, swing 7, banish, and swing 7, lead or whatever. I did that out of order, but you guys know what I mean. Okay, swing for 6, pull that back, and they see where this is going. I think they just end up conceding here. Yep, 2 Marshall D teaches in hand, but you're not going to get to play that if I attack this many times, right? You're just not going to be able to get around that. Good game to my opponent. We got one more game to go over. Okay, last one here. Volume is off. Speed is on 2x, and here we go. We got a game versus Green Purple Lim. Okay, we got a battle of the green hybrid leaders, right? We got a battle of the 4-life green hybrid leaders. We'll see who the best deck is. No, I'm just kidding. Green Purple Lim is actually incredible right now, but I've got some things to say, though, as a green blue Zoro and Sanji leader, because I can just demolish their board every turn. I don't have to swing at face, right? It depends on what my opponent's trying to do. If they're going to play characters sideways, which they have to with Lim, okay, I'll just eat those up. I'll eat those right up. They play out in an L. Okay. Swing 7 into 6. I'm okay with them saving this card, by the way. It doesn't really matter too much. I just have to start getting cards out of their hand, and I need to start developing characters on the board. Okay, no problem. So here we go. We're going to play out the Sanji after that and pass the turn. We'll be on a 6 Dawn turn next turn, but it'll really act as like a 7 Dawn turn with the 5-cost smoker if we play that out, so we'll get to do some really solid effects if we need to. Okay, here we go. They're going to play out another Enel. They're going to draw 3 trash 2. Seems good, but they still only have 5 cards in hand, 4 after playing out the Rosinante, and let's see what happens here. I'm probably going to play out the smoker and go from here because I need to stand a Dawn with, or excuse me, I need to get down to 5 cards or less actually with the Sanji first. So let's see what happens. Okay, they 2K counter out of that. I'm going to stand a Dawn as active. I'm going to swing for 6. I'm not going to use the leader effect. It is what it is, right? I wish I could have used the leader effect there, but it wasn't an option. It just simply was not an option. They're going to go 7 into 5. I think we're probably going to save that card here and force them to go 7 more into it here with the other Enel. Or maybe more. Maybe they'll swing 9 into it. Beautiful. We'll take that. So we just saved a life in the process of saving that card for 2 cards. And now they're going to swing for 7. They're going to use leader effect one more time, standing up the playing out a Doflamingo, and now they have a blocker. Okay, but we have a certain card in our hand that is pretty good. I must say, we have a card in our hand that's pretty good here, right? So we're going to go 6 into 6. We'll see what he chooses to do. Gives us the blocker. Very nice. We'll swing for 7 with banish. That card's gone. And now we're going to stand a Dawn as active and pass the turn. That's just a bluff. We can't really do much with that. They swing 5 into our face. Then what are they going to play out? 10 cost Kaido and Linlin. Okay, well, today this is a pretty easy turn right here, right? Yep, that's right. We're going 17 into 12, guys. I really don't have another option. They have to have 3 2K counters in hand to save this card. I'm saying, hey, you got it or you don't. If he has it, the game's just over on the spot. I would have just conceded if he saved it, but he did not have enough. We get to save that card, and now can he get rid of our character? He's probably going to have to dedicate 7. Yep, 12 into 7. We couldn't save it, and now for 3 for the leader effect, he can cheat out a character. Very nice for my opponent there, but here we go, guys. We're going to have to do some shenanigans here. I play out the Duval. I play out the Ivankov to get some cards, set some cards up the way we need them, and then we're going to load up everything on the leader right here, and we're smashing for 10 into 6. This would cost 3 cards from hand minimum. 2, 2, and 1. Very nice. He saves the Sabo. I do like that play. Number one, I think it's fine for me because he doesn't have as many cards left in hand. But I like it for him as well because that does allow him to draw to better cards if he needed them. But he had a Mihawk in hand. I might have saved it. It's hard to say. But I will say this, we're at the point in the game where he's kind of just going to lose no matter what now, right? So no matter what this green-purple Lim player does, I'm going to keep attacking into his board. Everything that they play will come into play sideways, and I will be attacking into it with really effective attacks here. Look at this, 6 into 6. That's a very subtle attack, right? I'm going to go 6 more to 6, standing up to Tashigi and swinging it for 6. Like, wait a minute, I thought you couldn't pull back cards that were, less than 2. It's like, well, no, you can stand any cost card. It just has to have 7,000 power or less. So we run them over like that. We play out the Duval. We're setting up our cards. We're getting incremental advantages here and there. Every single card they play for the rest of the game will come into play rested, and we're going to run it over. Whatever he plays out, we will run it over. Now, that was pretty good, getting that Lim right there into an Enel. That was pretty good, right? He'll go 8 into 2. He can have that card or 9 into 2. That's fine. Plays out the Enel, does a draw 3, trash 2. He'll keep the 1 card he wants. But here's the thing. Watch this. I'll load up 3 on this character here. 5 into 5. Does he want to save it? The answer is he shouldn't, by the way. Okay, we'll swing 6 into there. We'll pull back this blocker, stand this card up, 5 more into it. Your board's gone. And that's going to happen every turn, by the way. Like, so yeah, my opponent throws in the towel. They understand what's happening. It doesn't matter what they play. It's going to get removed every single turn now. Even if they, like, look at their next card, by the way. Their top card is a Zoro. Okay, well, what do? Play out a 9-cost Zoro. They have no Dawn. They can swing for 6 for the turn. We would probably just block out or 2K counter. We do have a 2K. We have 2 2K counters in hand. So if he attacks in for 6, we 2K counter out. He plays out a Zoro. It comes into play rested. He has 0 cards in hand to defend it. I put 4 Dawn on my leader, swinging for 9. That card's gone. You guys see where this is going, right? It's like no matter what they do, if you can get Lim into this position right here, the game is over. Okay, the game is absolutely over. But good game to my opponent. They definitely stuck in there, and you know, it was a hard fought fight there. They hung in there. Good game. Now, let's talk about the list one more time, and I do want to talk about a matchup real quick to avoid at all costs. Flee on sight command, guys. Flee on sight command. Bonnie. Jory Bonnie, just scoop it up and just go to the next game. Say, hey, man, got a headache. I'm just kidding. I'm never suggesting people do that. If you guys have any idea what we can do against Jory Bonnie, you need to tell me in the comment section below, because I have no idea. That is just a hard loss right there because of the way the leader works, right? Let me bring up Green Warlords real quick. Or Green Warlords, what am I talking about? Green Leaders. This is what the leader does for those who are not aware. When opponent attacks, once per turn, pay 1, rest up to one of your opponent's leaders or characters. If that effect said characters only, then we would be fine. Because if they want to rest one of our characters for another, I wouldn't care at all. And by the way, I think that's what the card should say. The fact that it can rest down a leader is absurd to me. But hey, I'm not going to say anything. It is what it is, other than what I've already said just then. But hear me out. This leader right here is the absolute hardest counter in the game to any other leader, I think, to this leader, right? Like, Bonnie versus this leader feels terrible. I mean, there might be another harder counter out there somewhere, but anyone who's tried the matchup will know what I'm saying. I'm not saying you can't win. It's just extremely uphill. It's an extreme uphill battle. The only thing I can think of, just off the top of my head, is maybe going more of a removal package, like go 4 Raging Tigers, 4 Red Rocks. I mean, just maybe that's what it is, guys. Maybe that's what you'll have to do. Is let me go back to the blue cards. Let me just type in events. Maybe you have to run like 4 3000 Worlds, 4 Gravity Blade Raging Tigers, and 4 Red Rocks. I have no idea, guys. Like I said, if you figure out how to deal with that matchup, please report back to me. I need to hear about it. Whatever, here it is, the Red Rock. However you're supposed to beat Green Joy Body or our best bet at it, by all means, do share in the comment section below. Let me explain why it is such a hard matchup. So let's say we have a smoker on the board and our leader effect. Well, guess what? If we swing with our leader, they tap down the smoker. If we swing with our smoker, they tap down the leader. Okay, so it becomes a very, very tough situation. And here's the really crappy part about timing in this game. This is a win attacking effect, and our opponent's Jory Bonnie effect takes place in the same time as a on opponent's attack effect. So in other words, we don't get to say like, no, you can resolve your effect first. No, we're the attacker, and it's the win attacking window, or I should just call it the attacking window. So win attacking effects happen first, and then on opponent's attacks happen afterwards. So in other words, we can't like swing with our leader and then they tap down our guy and then we can stand it up. That's not how it works. We swing in with our leader and then untap a character, and then they would tap a character with their leader effect. That's what makes it disgusting, totally brutal, pretty much unwinnable. I don't know what we're going to do going forward. Maybe Hody Jones becomes the best answer if we could like tap down. Maybe we have to go as wide on the board as possible, lock down their Dawn for the turn and a blocker, and just go from there. But at that stage of the game, they might already have down something like an 8-cost Eustass Kid. Again, guys, it just becomes a nightmare situation. We'll have to figure out how to deal with that in the future. Or if you have any tips or tricks, by all means, put those in the comment section below. It would help us out big time. Okay, what else? What else? I think that's pretty much it, guys. I think we've gone over everything we needed to. I will just do one quick recap over both of the deck lists. This one, I'm just calling it Zonji Beard for now. I do like Nefeltari Vivi in Zonji just in general now, and same thing with Namuel. They are these incredibly cheap, high-value characters to play out, to just draw cards and do things like that. And then we pull them back easily with our leader effect, and we're not even upset to do it because we want to recycle their own play effects. So I am a big fan of Nefeltari VV. This list is running pretty well, but I think it needs a few more revisions. I don't know if we're actually going to need this Kazuki Odin, but I will say it does really help out the matchup against Black, and that has been a notoriously bad matchup for this deck, for this leader. So Kazuki Odin might need to stay in for that matchup alone, and maybe we need to go up to 4 squad. We'll have to see what happens. Everything else seemed pretty good. The deck is very complicated. It's very challenging to play. I was definitely making play mistakes when playing it. There was a, I need to get better at playing this list with this version. And the better you get with it, the more optimal your plays get, and the stronger the leader looks. But I will say, very challenging deck list to run. But for this one, we have to wait until OP11.5 when ST22 comes out. Okay, and then last but not least, the version we saw at the very end. This is the Navy version. I think I do want to go up the 3-cost Hina. Number one, it is a draw card effect. This is a 3-cost, 4,000 power, 1k counter character, Navy searchable. But as on play, if you have 5 or less cards in hand, draw a card. So it's like a miniature version of the Nefeltari VV. But I think this might actually be better in this list, because we don't want to draw 2 cards per se. We actually want to keep our hand size pretty low, so we can very steadily draw cards over the course of the game, while still getting access to effects like this Zonji here, and drawing cards from the Emporio Ivankov. And then, like I said, this is a 3-cost 4k, 1k counter, whereas the Nefeltari VV is a 3-cost 2k. So before returning this card back to our hand, we play this out on a turn, draw a card. Next turn, we attach 1 Dawn, get a quick 5 damage poke in, and then, attach a Dawn to leader, and we can pull this, attack with leader and pull this card back to our hand, standing up one of our other characters. That has a lot of value, and it's another searchable card with Tashigi. So I think there is something to be said there. What else? I think that's about it, guys. I don't really have a whole lot more to add. This pudding is in the deck specifically as a 2-cost counter that we can cheat out with the Ivankov. We can set it up with the Duval, and it's something we can play out and pull it back to our hand if we need to. Now, yes, we can do that with our leader effect typically, but who knows if we need to pull back multiple targets. It is better to have access to that if we need like extra counter in hand for the crackback. But other than that, Carrot felt very strong in here. Smoker is a monster in this version of the deck. There are some other cards we do need to consider. Like, I think there was a green Navy card that I was looking at. X-Drake I'm always considering, because we can even pull this card back if we need to KO characters. But maybe even this Sakazuki, guys. 6-cost, 7,000 power. On play, if you have 2 or more rested characters in play, KO up to one of your opponent's cost 5 or lower characters. So it is removal, and we can play this, maybe the turn after the Smoker play. And then, say we go 5 Dawn, play out Smoker, right? And then 7 Dawn, if we play out this Sakazuki, we'll actually have 2 Dawn left for the turn, so we can swing in with, because we can use the Smoker's effect to stand a Dawn as active and go from there. So we actually have a lot of different options. I think it has a lot of potential. Let me just leave it at that. And other than that, I do think, let me see events real quick for blue and for green. One thing I will say, it's always worth considering this card in any green deck is you can be my samurai to draw cards. That card is very solid. But I think there might be some idea as well. Let me see if there's any Navy events that are 1 cost that we might be able to use. Okay, I'm just now seeing this. I'm looking at this. This might be something worth considering if we go up any more 5-cost green targets in the deck. This is a searchable Rosinante. They can play out a 5-cost green character from your hand, and then when you play it, you rest this character down and you protect those characters. So that could have some potential for sure. Maybe at that point we do squeak in, try to mess around with the X-Drake or something like that. It does have some potential. Maybe this card, even though you're okay, the only bad thing about this card is it's a 5-cost 6k 1k counter that says on play if your leader has the Navy type, rest up to 2 of your characters 5-cost or lower characters. We're not a Navy type leader, so unfortunately it is what it is. Maybe even just a 5-cost 7k vanilla might be worth it because of how strong our leader effect is. This might just be a really good card to run in here as well. And it's a Navy searchable card, 5-cost. We could cheat out with the Rosinante. There might be something to that, but I think we would take X-Drake over this card because it just has more upside being able to pop a 4-cost or lower character that's rested. Yeah, so there is no 1-cost Navy event, but there are events. Let me type in 1. There are 1-cost events we can potentially add to the list to help out with Smoker, like where Smoker gets a little more value at the end of the turn. Like maybe this card here, Billionfold World Trichiliocosm. This could be good. It's okay. 1-cost counter up to one of your leader or characters gains plus 2,000 power during this battle. Then if you have 8 or more rested cards, that card gains an additional 2,000 power. So that might be worth running. Maybe some idea there. Trigger K up to one of your opponent's rested characters with the cost of 3 or less. Is this? Oh man, I saw Smoker on there. I got excited. Like I thought, oh, maybe this is Navy, but no, this card's called Scalpel. It's a Supernova Heart Pirate, so that's not exactly what we were looking for. In the future, it might be worth messing around with this Gum Gum Elephant Gatling card. This might be decent going into OP11. It's a 1-cost 3,000 power counter for your leader. And then main, you may rest one of your Dawn, so pay 2 Dawn altogether, and rest up to one of your opponent's characters with the cost of 5 or less. This might be really good for closing out games. And on top of that, like I said, with the Smoker effect, we're standing up 1 Dawn at the end of turn, and we're completely fine with this effect afterwards. It is really too bad they did not make this leader Supernova. Like, I understand that Zoro is Supernova and Sanji is not, but it's too bad because it's a combined leader they did not make it Supernova / Straw Hat. Because that would have been so nice if we could have run something like Cavendish. But let me just leave that there. I don't want to complain about it. I know people get upset with me for stuff like that, but yeah, it is what it is. What else? Any other 1-cost effects here? I guess we could leave 1 Dawn open for something like Desert Spada. Maybe Gum Gum Giant Gavel. I mean, it is a 1-cost 4K. It's not exactly terrible. Maybe we even run a few smokers in the Whitebeard version, going into OP 11.5 or whatever it'll be with ST22, and then we can stand 1 Dawn as active at the end of turn to use for this. So there could be something about that, or something worth exploring there. Here's another good card that can help you save characters on the board and go plus 4,000 for the turn. It's called Slave Arrow. It's a 7 Warlords of the Sea type event. 1-cost counter. Return one of your cost 2 or higher characters, which is right on theme for us, right? We're trying to put 2 cost and higher characters in here for our leaders effect. We can return one of our characters and give up one of our leaders or characters plus 4,000 power during this battle, and then trigger, draw 2 cards and place 2 cards from your hand on the bottom of your deck. So it ends up being a 2-card cycle for the trigger. This is probably a perfect card for what we were doing with the 7 Warlords package. But oh well, it is what it is. All right, I'm done yapping, guys. Hope y'all enjoyed. What do you guys think? Which direction are you more interested in going with Green Blue Zoro and Sanji? Green Blue Zonji. Do you like this Navy version more? Do you like the Whitebeard Pirates version more? Or are you playing with some other version? Please share it in the comment section below. Tell us what version you're running that you're having success with on the sim. All right, I'm done. Hope y'all enjoyed. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Please don't forget to stop by the stream tonight as well, guys, if you get bored, if you have some time. Big shout out to everybody who supports the channel, whether you're liking, subscribing, sharing, commenting, viewing, using the TCG Player affiliate link, whatever you're doing to help me out. I really appreciate it. Thank you to all the Patreons, people who donate, people who support me through Patreon, PayPal, and donations. Thank you to all the Playmat supporters, YouTube members, Discord community. You guys are the best. I really appreciate it. Keeping the dream alive, keeping the channel going, and everything like that. All right, we're done. Till next time. If you guys have any comments, questions, or suggestions, please don't hesitate to put those in the comment section below, or hop on the VV Theory Discord. Link is in the channel description. All right, peace.